fluorescent light cast across the hospital room ceiling, reflecting off my pale skin as if I were a corpse not yet buried. I couldn't move. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't speak, but I could hear everything. At first, it was the sound of machines, the heartbeat monitor ticking in time, like an hourglass counting down the remaining seconds of my life. The soft footsteps of the nurse, the doctor's voice telling someone else, he's alive but still unconscious. Then came the familiar voice. My mother. Her crying was so familiar, but this time it sounded different. It was fake somehow. It wasn't the cry of a mother worried about her child. It sounded more like an actor trying to get the role just right, but not quite pulling it off. Then I heard my brother's voice, Jackson. He was always the smart one, the successful one, the great communicator, according to Mom. As for me, Scott, the hard-working youngest son, obedient, content to stay in my place. The one who always worked tirelessly, never complained, and never asked why they borrowed money. When Jackson leaned in close to the bed, I could feel his breath, the mix of minty gum, alcohol, and cheap cologne. He's not going to make it. We should start talking about the money. I know someone who can handle the paperwork. I thought I must have misheard, but then my mom's voice came through without hesitation. Yeah, he doesn't need it anymore. It hit me like a bolt of lightning, not because the forklift had crushed half my body a week ago, but because my family, the people I trusted, were trying to strip me of everything before I was even dead. The pain wasn't in my body. It was in my heart. $94,000, my entire life savings, built up from skipping meals and passing on vacations. I used to feel proud of my plans, my determination. I thought they cared about me. But no, they were just waiting for me to die. Jackson kept talking about how he could help me move the money into investments to lower the tax burden. He even said, Mom's the legal guardian, so she can sign for him. Mom just nodded, her voice shaking with emotion. I counted every hole in the ceiling to keep myself from going mad. There were 322 holes in each tile. I counted them over and over, thousands of times. My eyes were closed, my body was numb, but in my head, I was more alert than ever. On the fourth day, Savannah, my sister, came. She hesitated. She didn't say anything while Jackson and Mom discussed how to divide up my savings, but she didn't object. Her silence hurt more than words ever could. On the fifth day, I cried. No one knew, but the tears fell. Victoria, the nurse, came in to wipe my face. She whispered, it seems your body is responding. Don't worry, it's a good sign. If she knew I could hear everything, what would she have said? On the seventh day, the doctor announced, I was starting to show positive signs and might be coming out of the coma. I heard my mother sobbing, fake. Jackson immediately asked, any memory issues? I mean, just so we can prepare ourselves. I almost laughed in my head. They had no idea what was about to happen. When everyone left, Victoria came to check my IV, as usual. I tried, and I squeezed her hand lightly. Just a little, but enough to make her pause. Can you hear me? She whispered. I squeezed her hand again, slowly, clearly. I'll help you. Hold on. That was the first time in 7 long days that I didn't feel alone. Day 8. I opened my eyes for the first time. My vision was blurry. My head was pounding, but my heart was colder and more determined than ever. My family rushed into the room like they were following a script. Scott! Oh my God, you're awake! Hey, he's awake! Jackson yelled as if he just won the lottery. I played weak. My eyes barely opened. My speech slow. What happened? Mom cried. Jackson squeezed my shoulder. Savannah sat in the corner, her eyes red but not daring to look me in the eye. Victoria stood quietly beside the bed. I glanced at her. She nodded. The battle had begun. I still remember the first time I heard my mother's laughter again. The laughter I once thought was peaceful turned into a chilling sound of betrayal. In that moment, I didn't picture the old home with Mom's lasagna or the time she hugged me tight at Dad's funeral. All I could hear was that cold voice saying, he won't need the money. We can take it now. When the doctor announced that I was making a good recovery and might come out of the coma, the atmosphere in the room shifted. My mom sobbed, fake tears. Jackson immediately asked, any memory issues? I mean, just so we can prepare ourselves. I almost laughed inside. They had no idea what was about to happen. Every day after that, I played deeper into my role. I asked the doctor his name, even though he'd introduced himself 3 times. I pretended to forget Victoria's name, the one nurse who actually cared. I faked forgetting my phone's PIN. And when Mom brought me her homemade chicken porridge, which I'd never liked, I ate it all, saying, thanks, Mom. It warms my heart. Each time I said that, I saw a flash of guilt in her eyes. But I knew. It wasn't remorse. It was the expression of someone terrified of being exposed. Jackson still played the concerned older brother, but he was clumsy. He asked me 3 times about the bank account. Once pretending to worry about medical expenses, another time telling me I should transfer control soon to avoid losing it with my memory issues. And the last time, he brought real paperwork. Just sign here. I'll take care of everything. I'm family, right? His voice was light, but his eyes were filled with urgency. I pretended to be dazed. What? What's this? I can't even remember my middle name. Scott, your name is Scott Anthony. You forgot? Jackson snapped. Yeah, right. Anthony, or was it Alan? I picked up the pen with my left hand, scribbled my name wrong, and scratched my head apologetically, saying, I just can't remember my name. He swallowed his frustration, but I could see it. He knew I wasn't completely out of it, and that made him nervous. Savannah was different. My sister rarely came, but when she did, she brought red eyes and a box of chocolates I used to love as a kid. I'm sorry I couldn't come sooner. I've been so busy, she said, not daring to look me in the eye. I nodded. It's okay. I missed you. And because of that hesitation in Savannah, I began to form a second plan. Just for her. A chance for redemption, if she wanted it. In the following days, Harold and I began setting the trap. Harold, my only true friend, helped me create a fake financial ecosystem. Fake bank accounts, fake email alerts, even a fake banking app on my phone showing a fake balance. I kept $87,000 instead of $94,000 to avoid suspicion. I also created a partial memory recovery scenario, meaning every day I'd remember a new detail. One day I remembered I liked black coffee. The next day I remembered my bank PIN. The gradual progress kept my family from suspecting anything, but it was just enough for them to slowly edge closer to my assets. On the 10th day after I woke up, Jackson brought more paperwork. This time he had found a private lawyer, a buddy of his from the gambling world. But the doctor intervened, saying I wasn't mentally stable enough to sign any legal documents. After the doctor left, Jackson leaned in and whispered, Scott, don't you get tired of thinking so much? Let me take care of it, like I always have. I looked at him, really looked, and smiled like a fool. Thanks, bro. I'm so lucky to have someone like you. He smiled, unaware that everything he said, every breath, every curse muttered, while he thought I was asleep, was being recorded. Victoria, the nurse, continued to be my silent guardian angel. She gave me the laptop, helped me connect with Harold by accidentally spilling the IV bag when Jackson visited. Another time, she stopped my mom from rummaging through my personal suitcase under the pretext of checking for medicine. Scott, they don't love you like you think they do, she said while changing my bandages on the 11th night. I had a brother like you. He thought his family would always have his back. I only replied softly, thanks for not being like them. The discharge day was approaching. I had everything prepared. The real accounts were emptied and transferred to another bank under my new legal name. A secure account at a bank in another state. All real estate documents and insurance contracts I'd purchased had been transferred to Harold as my representative. I had also set up an appointment with a lawyer, Harold's sister, who was ready to represent me in case of any litigation. But the most important part, the final blow plan, would come after I left the hospital. A powerful strike aimed at those who thought I was powerless. That morning I sat quietly at the edge of my hospital bed, putting on the old hoodie my mom had brought me. Not to keep me warm, but as a symbol of the lies wrapped in cotton fabric, much like the family ties I had trusted for 32 years. Jackson came to pick me up, playing the role of the devoted brother. He smiled, clapped me on the back, half marking his territory, half seeing me as the fat goose just coming out of the slaughterhouse. He grabbed my luggage and led me to the car he had proudly shown me as borrowed from a friend. I knew it was a rental. He didn't have enough credit left to own anything valuable. I sat in the passenger seat, silently observing. He drove while lecturing me on what I needed to do in the coming days. Rest, eat well, and discuss finances. You don't need to worry. Leave it to me. Everyone at home trusts me, he said. I nodded, staring out the window. Yeah, I know. You've always been the trusted one. His smirk grew self-satisfied. I kept my lips pressed together. In my head, I was counting down. 72 hours left. Jackson's apartment was a mess. Beer cans scattered under the couch. The kitchen was full of burnt pots and pans. The smell of cigarettes mixed with the musty stench of the carpet. I looked around and thought to myself, this is where he's planning to take care of me. Or is it just a holding pen, getting me fattened up before the slaughter? I walked into the bedroom. I say bedroom, but it was really just a thin mattress pressed against the wall with no sheets. On the table was a faded cup of water and an old financial investment magazine. Irony at its finest. Jackson made me some instant noodles. You should eat light. You're still recovering, he said. I ate it, complimenting him like the obedient little brother I always was. That night, I pretended to fall asleep early, but really I lay there listening to him talk on the phone with someone. His voice was low, but not low enough to hide what he was saying. No, listen. The money will come soon. He trusts me. I even got the account password. You think I'm letting him stay here for the love, huh? I closed my eyes, gripping the pillow, but the pillow couldn't stop the anger rising in my throat. The next morning, he suggested I transfer some funds to my account to keep it safe for managing medical expenses, physical therapy, meds, and so on. I nodded, opening my eyes wide, pretending to be the clueless brain injury victim. I'll input it for you. You're still tired, he said. Yes, please help me. I opened my phone, logged into the fake account, an app Harold had set up. When Jackson saw the balance of $87,223, his eyes lit up like a child seeing candy. Perfect, buddy. Let me just withdraw $15,000 as an advance for the medical expenses. I fought back tears, not because of the hurt, but because of the anger. I had watched him use me as a living ATM for years. Yes, go ahead, I replied. I entered the details, clicked transfer, and showed him the fake screen displaying, transaction successful, $15,000 transferred to account XXX8012. He hugged me, whispering, "You're such a great brother." If he only knew that this great brother had the full recording of the past 3 days, maybe he wouldn't have said that. On the third day at the apartment, I asked to go out for a walk to get some fresh air. But really, I was going to meet Harold at our usual coffee shop. I went over everything, every detail. Harold listened and extracted the audio from the app's covert recording feature on my phone. A real Netflix episode, he chuckled. And tomorrow, I asked? Tomorrow, Harold nodded, is when they'll fall into the hole they dug for themselves. He had set up a honeypot system to send fake alerts about suspicious transactions, temporary account lock due to suspected misuse, and emails to both the fake inbox and text messages on Jackson's phone. We were scheduled to meet at Harold's sister's law office tomorrow afternoon to officially file a lawsuit for guardianship abuse and attempted asset theft. That night, when I returned to the apartment, my mom and Savannah were already there. Mom was still playing the devoted mother role, cleaning, making porridge, telling childhood stories. Savannah was silent, still the same girl, eyes downcast, unwilling to look me in the eye. While I pretended to sleep, I heard them whispering in the kitchen. On Friday, once I get the money, I'll have the workers come in. Yeah, I've already picked out the backsplash. Savannah's voice trembled. Mom, what if Scott finds out? Jackson laughed coldly. He can't even remember his own name. Trust me. At that moment, I knew. None of them had the decency to stop. None of them deserved a second chance. Tomorrow would be the day of reckoning. In just a few hours, when Jackson opens the banking app to check if the money's in, he'll see the notification. Account locked due to suspicious activity. All access is being monitored. He'll panic. Mom will call me frantically. Savannah will cry or disappear. But I won't be there anymore. I'll be at the lawyer's office holding all the evidence. The recordings, photos, transaction histories, even the file of my mom's distribution plan saved on the old tablet she forgot to log out of. Tomorrow, I'll pull away the warm blanket of the naive fool and make them face the truth. I'm no longer a walking ATM. I woke up before Jackson. All night he was drunk, his feet propped up on the table, muttering to himself, "It's done, it's done. Life's about to get better." Meanwhile, I lay still on the thin mattress in his temporary guest room, eyes wide open, counting the cracks in the ceiling. Not because I was afraid, but because I was waiting. Waiting for this day to come. 7:13 a.m. Jackson groggily rolled out of bed, reaching for his phone, his eyes still bloodshot. Without brushing his teeth or even opening the blinds, he immediately opened the banking app, the fake one that Harold and I had set up to look real. And then, his face froze. He sat up quickly, staring at the screen. I could hear his breath quicken. Warning, account temporarily frozen due to suspicious transaction. System is verifying. Please contact the bank. What the hell is this? Jackson muttered, his hand trembling like someone going through withdrawal. He repeatedly tried to log in again, but the app only displayed the message. Temporarily unavailable. A report has been sent to the registered phone number. That number, of course, was mine. I fought back a laugh. What's going on, bro? I said, feigning sleepiness. Didn't you say you transferred the money yesterday? Jackson looked at me as if trying to figure out if I was playing a game. But I was doing it perfectly. Still the clueless face, eyes drowsy as if I hadn't fully recovered from the injury. Must be a system glitch, he stammered. I'll take care of it. I nodded and got up to grab my things to shower. Meanwhile, Harold sent a message. Harold, connection stable, honeypot package working correctly, 3 alerts sent. Time, 7:15 to 7:18. Harold, ready for step 2? I typed back, let's burn. 9:02 a.m. My mom calls, her voice frantic. Scott, I don't know what's happening. Your account, it looks like it's been locked. Call the bank. I just put the deposit down for the tiles. Savannah texts, I'm so sorry. I really didn't know things had gotten this serious. Can I call you? I turn off the ringer. At that moment, I'm sitting next to Harold and his sister, the attorney who specializes in guardianship abuse. Each file is placed on the table. Recordings, photos, copies of the money transfer plan, and especially the power of attorney document that Jackson had forced me to sign with the wrong spelling. With all this evidence, she says, they won't be able to access any funds, and if they try, they'll be criminally prosecuted for attempting to forge legal documents when the patient is not fully conscious. I nod, my hand still clutching the USB drive with the hospital recordings. 10:34 a.m. I return to Jackson's apartment one last time. As soon as I walk in, I see him frantically calling the bank, sweating, his face pale. Mom is crying, and Savannah is sitting silently, her eyes red. Scott, Mom jumps up. You need to call the bank. I can't lose that deposit. I walk into the kitchen, put my phone down on the table. Then, I open the recording app. Hey everyone, my voice changes. It's no longer weak, no longer pretending to be naive. It's the voice of someone who just came back from hell, bringing with them the fire to burn the person who pushed them into it. Do you want to hear what I said by the bedside of a person who's essentially a vegetable? I hit play. Jackson's voice comes through loud and clear. He's not going to make it. We should take the money first. Mom's voice. Yeah, he doesn't need it anymore. Savannah lets out a small whimper. Jackson stands frozen, like a statue. I look at each of them, slowly. No accusations, no curses. Just a look that makes the entire room freeze. I heard everything, every word, every sound. While I couldn't move, you were making plans to steal everything I've saved for the last 8 years. I'm not the fool you think I am. I don't need a family like this. Then I place an envelope on the table. Inside is a notification from the attorney about revoking all financial access from family members, along with the report sent to the bank and the request to protect my personal assets. This is the end, permanently. Jackson opens his mouth to yell, but I cut him off. I've sent that recording to your workplace, to your girlfriend, to Uncle Edwin, and if you ever come near me again, I'll post it online. He goes silent. I turn to Mom. She's crying. But this time, I don't feel anything. I used to be a good son, but since the day you squeezed my hand and said, he doesn't need the money anymore, you stopped being my mother. Savannah steps forward, but I pull back. You didn't do anything, right? But you didn't stop them either, so you might as well be on their side. I turned away, opened the door, and walked out, and I never looked back. 3 days later, Jackson was put under investigation by his company. Mom lost a $19,000 deposit for the kitchen renovation that never even started. Savannah was drowning in debt as the bank reversed the transactions she thought were covered. As for me, I moved back into my old apartment. Harold installed security cameras, set up an alarm system. I changed my phone number, but kept the old phone to read through the frantic apology messages. As a reminder, I survived, not just physically. A few days later, I met Nurse Victoria again at the little cafe down the street. She smiled and said, when you squeezed my hand, I knew you weren't a victim anymore. I replied, I've only just begun. You've come this far with me. Thank you for listening. If you've ever been the one to always endure, always help, always take a step back because you thought it was the right thing to do, remember this. Kindness doesn't go hand in hand with foolishness. And if someone ever thought you were weak, let them see. You're not silent because you're afraid, but because you're planning. If this story has touched your heart, please hit like, subscribe, and share so I can tell more stories. We'll come back with truths buried deep, pains held tight, and the moments of rising again when it seemed impossible. See you in the next stories. Goodbye.